All right, so we just made this box, and then we exploded it and copied it up. It's 20 by 40 by 15. Jordan doesn't like the iso curves, so we can select this, go to properties, under show surface iso curves, we click them off, and now they're gone. Now these are individual surfaces. Now why did I do that? I can start, I can do a couple things. Now I didn't have to exploit. I'm going to try explode and unexplode. So what I'm going to do is rejoin the top. So let's rejoin these. So these are one again. All right, and this is not one. So I can do an join. So I can do an extrude surface. So I can still do it without exploding it. So you see I'm starting to give this a thickness, and I can say 1. So now this is 1 foot thick. And if I wanted to go negative, I can do -1.
So you did extrude surface?
Yep, -1. So I'm extruding it inward.
It's recording.
It's on his computer. What does that do us?
Aren't you gonna share?
Wait, are you sharing this recording?
Yeah, I'll
okay.
upload it on YouTube.
Okay. I was going to write it down.
Right, so...
Record your voice too, right?
Yeah, that's right. So if I delete that now, we have this, right?
Whoa.
And then what I can do, 1 foot might not be enough. We'll see. Trying to give enough thickness so when we do the folding and make the model. So I'm going to roll this whole thing, and then we'll cut it all out, and then we'll roll it back together. Okay, that's the trick. And this might be a complete failure, but we'll see. So we have that, and then what I can do is do a Boolean command, which is Boolean union, to join all these solids. And sometimes that works. So there it is. So these are sort of one geometry. Now, if it's going to be an opening like that, it's actually better to actually draw, in this case, if we draw a rectangle, you can't just draw it from there. We actually have to change the construction plane. So this will be some advanced modeling you guys need to learn. So if we go to view, set C plane, we can go to 3-point. Now the construction plane is basically the grid that's here located, represents the construction plane. We want to flip it up. So if I do 3-point, I'm saying take that origin there, this is my X, and then this is my Y. And now I just flipped it up. So now I'm drawing on this surface. So it's like taking your drafting table and just flipping it up on that facade. And I can draw a rectangle corner, corner. And this is what I mean, you'll be like copying this stuff over. So I have that now. So this is what I mean, like, oh, I like how that's going, but I need to change it. So I'll copy this over. So that way I still have the original. And then I'm going to say, well, you know, I didn't like how what that offset is. So if I do offset, I can do 2 feet. 1 foot minimum, I said, right? So that's 2 feet. Just because I still see the model being a little bit of a, more of a diagram, you know, more abstract. So I'm going to type in extrude. This time it's going to be extrude curve. If I select both curves, the inside and outside curve, and I can go to like the end point, it's going to actually extrude, I'll delete that, this as a whole. Okay? Does that make sense? So far so good? So say I like the way this is working. So I might need to go to view, set C plane, then I'll go to world top, so it puts it back to world top. I'm just going to copy. I don't want to make it again. I'm just going to copy. So I'm just copying and rotating this because they're the same. And I'm going to move this down. Then I'm going to say, okay, I went from this to this. Now I like this. I'm going to copy this over. Okay. And now I might say, well, I want to have a punch. I want these spaces connected because somehow you enter here and you go up and you go over. Again, this is just me making something on the fly, right? So there's a couple things I can do. I know these two share the same maybe slab. So I could move this down. You don't have to, but I could and say, hey, I'm going to move that maybe down and over. And now I want to make a hole. So I'll draw a new rectangle. So this is a new rectangle there. You guys see that? And then I'm going to extrude this. So I can just go to extrude curve, or I can type in extrude. I'm just making a solid. Then I always like to move this up a little bit. So it's sitting in between both. And I'm going to use a Boolean command. This time it's going to be Boolean difference. So I'll say Boolean difference. Pick this. Hit enter, pick that, hit enter, and it should cut it. Now we can't see it right now. I'm going to pick both of these and cut it. So I'll do a Boolean difference, pick both objects that I want to cut, and then pick the object that's going to cut a hole. Now what's happening is I think when I did that extrude it wasn't solid. So let's do an extrude again. Extrude surface curve. So where it says solid, this has to be yes. You guys saw that now? So there's a cap. And when I did, like this became solid, but for some reason, when I did just a normal, that won't become solid. So you have to make sure solid is yes. I'm going to move this back now. Down. I'll do a Boolean difference, pick that, and then that. Oops, try it again. Sorry. Boolean difference. Sorry, I have like, gotta be careful, so let's do Boolean difference again. Extrusion, enter, pick the center extrusion, enter. This made a hole, there's a plate there.
Whoa.
So that made a connection now. Now it also sort of cut into my piece here because I didn't realize I went too far. So there's a hole there. Let's say I wanted that. All right? Okay, do you see how I start connecting these? All right, is this making sense? So if I take this now, I turn off, so I can just sort of read these geometries. So what I want to do now is, I want to build these two pieces. For some reason I still have. So this is where I'm going to take these two and copy them now. I say I like that. I'm going to copy them over. You understand why I'm copying them over? So I always have I have the versions as I'm going, right? So now I want to make this as a model. Now, can we make this out of wood? Sure. Right? Can we make it out of paper? Yes. You know, Bristol board? Yes. If you want to make it out of wood, I think it's good. You guys are going to have a hard time doing these type of models. Before we make it out of wood, let's look at, so you have this full opening. Let's think about like half punch. So like a half punch opening. I'm going to go to view, set C plane, 3 point. I'm going to go here now, there. And you guys just have to experiment with this. It's pretty straightforward. It's like origin point, X direction, Y direction, and it flips it. And then I'm going to go ahead and make another rectangle. I'm going to change this to ghosted. I just went to midpoint right now. I'm going to extrude this. Sorry. Extrude curve. Make sure solid is yes. Extrude it out. Always move this in. And you could do nearest, because you don't want to move it too far in. And then I'll do a boolean. And then I maybe want to move it out a little bit. And then do a boolean difference. So that's us, like a full slice out. Okay. So if I take this, let's go back to view, C-plane, world top. What I can do now is unroll this as a flat surface. And what it does, it gives us all the sort of pieces that make that up as flat surface. Like a puzzle. Yeah, sort of. So if I type in unroll surf, okay, we don't want to explode it. We could label it. Let's see, just now. So let's label it. So we hit enter. What it does is it unrolls it and makes all the parts. Now, sometimes you can see what happens is it rolls it on top of each other. So like some of the parts sit. So what we're going to do, let's do an undo. We're going to sort of control the unroll by sort of doing outside inside. So we're going to explode this. And I'm going to grab all the sort of outside surfaces. So I'm holding down the shift key. Okay, so those are all the outside surfaces. That makes sense? And I'm going to join those. Okay? And then I can type in the hide command. So these are all the inside surfaces, and some of these surfaces, so I'm doing one at a time. I can hide this one as well. So what we can do is sort of see, so sometimes it has a hard time with these surfaces, and I think we get double. No, it's just like, did a really bad job there. Like when it booleaned it, because it was sitting right on the edge, it made that. So we need to remake sometimes these surfaces. Now, let's just look at the outside surface, unrolling that before we get to the inside, because I think you guys can get away with just doing the outside surfaces, and that's enough, and not do the inside. Does that make sense? So let's invert this and hide. Like, just make that. So if I take this and I'll do an unroll, let's not even label it. That's what that looks like. That's pretty easy to make, right? If I take this, turn off the iso curves, we see where the folds are. Now, when you make this, you need to figure out what the lap is, right? So this folds down, this folds that way, this folds that way, and that folds that way. Did we forget the bottom? We need a bottom. Yeah, we forgot the bottom. So this makes sense. You're picking. Yes, does it make 100% clear? Guys? Yes? So I unroll this now. So there's the bottom now. Turn off the... Okay.
What are you turning off?
Turning off the iso curves that you don't like, Jordan?
Yeah.
So that way we don't get confused.
The only reason that I asked that was because when you like try to explode for like line thicknesses and stuff on Rhino.
This is just to make the model.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking about like previously, and then when you transport it to Illustrator for our drawings.
Yeah.
I always hit those lines, and I had to delete them manually, and it was terrible.
And this for the make the 2D information. You don't need to explode it. Is that the question?
No, never mind. I was using it for line. I needed to explode for line thicknesses.
Yes.
Different faces. It's,
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
so yeah, so then every time I exploded, I didn't know how to get rid of those, so I had to delete them manually, and it was terrible.
Yeah, so visible, invisible. So what I can do now is figure out the scale, right? So so after we do this, you need to scale this down right now. So this is in feet. So 1/4 of an inch equals a foot. So we just got to take a measurement here. So we know that's 40 feet. How many inches is that? 10, right? So we scale this from there to be 10 inches. Now you can see this thing is let's get the units in inches now. $10. This is 8 3/4. There to there is, so I can probably get this on one sheet. I can get that on another sheet. So I'm going to explode this. As long as I know where these go. I mean, it's nice to have them all together. So these are score lines and some are cut lines. So what I might do is just make sure I always have two. Well, I want a copy of how you assemble it and then lay it out so I can get on 11 by 17. So I'll draw a rectangle. That's we just go 0, 0, 11 inches by 17 inches. Do you guys know why I'm making 11 by 17?
Why?
Yeah,
Yeah, paper.
that's how big our paper is, right? Rectangle, 0, 0. Comma 17 inches. So that's what we can print on 11 by 17.
Holy cow.
So we can get that, we can get that. Well, we probably can just take this. So I'm going to rotate this, move it here. Sorry. So that'll be one print. This will be the other print. Okay. Now our paper is actually 11 by 14, so my Bristol. So get the bigger pad of Bristol if you're gonna get a pad. I think the bigger was 14 by 19 or something. Okay, so we have more room to work with.
What's the color doing?
It's 22 by its big, yeah. So we're gonna do, let's see, 14. Let's see how bad shape we are. Yeah, we're not gonna be able to get this long one. We'll look at that barely on there. And this is pretty. I mean, this is pretty simple. We can almost transfer the dimensions, draw it on the Bristol, and cut it. Right? Does that make sense to everyone?
The Bristol is
It's the stuff that I had right there.
better than wood.
Bristol is a totally different ballpark than wood. Yeah. One is baseball, and the other one is math.
That's funny.
Not even in the same category.
I mean, for like this stuff, it's better to use
I'm not
Bristol.
saying it's better. It's just different.
Probably like more efficient.
I don't know if baseball or math is better. So you have your jump drive? Can you bring one over? Just gonna have Jordan print these real quick, and I'll show you. All right, let's pause this video. So we can go ahead and print now. So file, print. So 11 by 17 tabloid. We're gonna make sure we're on vector output. We're gonna do window. We're gonna pick the window, right? And we're gonna make sure we're printing 1:1, right? So far so good. And then we're gonna print. And we're gonna put this. So there's print 1. And then we'll do window again. Oops. So it's also 1:1 print.
Tell me just flying around somewhere and just doesn't say it. What are you looking for the other one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like flying around, like just isn't like on there yet.
What's that?
Never mind. No.
Fly around. Oh, there it is.
It's right there, yeah. It's like I knew it was on there somewhere.
Hiding. Okay, so Jordan's gonna go print these real quick. Very fast.
Yeah, running actually. Just
Don't trip and fall. Well, while we're waiting for that, I'm gonna give you guys your grades individually, okay? So you have them? All right. So let's take 5 minutes.